John wasn't exactly the boogeyman. He was the one you sent to kill the fucking boogeyman.
People keep asking if I'm back, and I haven't really had an answer. But now, yeah, I'm thinking I'm back.
You welcome in Movie Recap. In this video, we will show an action movie, John Wick. Turn on subtitles and let's get started. A car driven by John Wick crashes into a wall. He gets out of the truck, hurt and bloodied. He exerts pressure on a wound on his body, stomach. He pulled out his phone and watched a video of his wife, Helen, on the beach as he crawled up to her. The side. John slackens and closes his eyes. Several days earlier, on a cloudy day, John gets up. He gets flashbacks of being with Helen, the two of them having dinner, and then a snapshot. They kiss, and the moment when she faints in his arms. Then John appears with her. In the hospital bed, he kisses her forehead and looks at the doctor, who is holding his soft pad. And out. The next shot is of John holding a necklace in his hand as he exits his car. His wife had a disease that took her life. The day of her funeral arrived. Everyone leaves John standing over her grave while the man watches from afar. John's old buddy, Marcus, approaches him and says it's been a while and then asks John how it is. Holds up. Then the two talk and Marcus says he just checked out an old friend. Then he says goodbye and leaves. After the service was over, John appeared at home. He starts cleaning when the bell rings. He opens the door to see the woman giving birth standing. There, she had John sign some papers and hand him a package. He's a little dog. Helen has left a message for John. She wrote to him saying that she had accepted her death, and that she wants John to love again and that she would like him to start with the puppy. Upon reading the letter, John begins to cry. He takes the dog out of his pen and examines. Her collar is decorated with flowers, which leads John to conclude that Helen named the dog Daisy. He brings the dog 2 sheets, but the dog doesn't seem to want to get off the bed. But John. He picks it up and puts it off the bed. The next day, the dog climbed onto the bed and John woke up. Then he follows him around the house. Then John pours himself some cornflakes and the dog and told her that they were going to buy her some suitable food. He bonds with the puppy and they spend the day driving around in his 1969 Ford Mustang Mach 1. He stops by 3 Russian gangsters, including Yusuf Tarasov, son of crime boss Viggo Tarasov Gas. Iosif approaches John's car. You complete it, then inquire about the price. Then John says it's not for sale. Joseph then abuses John in Russian, saying everything has a great price, assuming he won't understand. But John corrects him by speaking in Russian and telling him so. Not that bitch. Joseph was flirting with Daisy at the moment, but hearing this made him angry. He's about to fight back when one of his friends pulls him up and tells John to have a good day. Later that day, John takes his car to an abandoned construction area and starts drifting all over the place. The right place to vent his frustration. He nearly runs into some trucks but stops just in time. Daisy must relieve herself while John prepares for bed, so John takes her downstairs. When they arrive, 2 mysterious men stand before John, while a third grabs a bat and beats him in the head. As Daisy moans, the man starts pounding on John. One of the men attacks the dog and rests on her neck. One of the men asks to find the keys and the other replies that he has found them. To them, after taking the keys, the man removes his disguise, revealing himself to be Joseph. He insults John, telling him to sleep well before throwing him out. Later, when John wakes up, he walks over to his lifeless pet and sits next to him as he strokes her head. He buries the dog and then starts cleaning up the mess in his house as memories of his wife UJ. An attack from last night runs through his head. Iosif drives John's Mustang to Aurelio's shop. Joseph tells Aurelio he needs some clean papers and a new number plate for the car. But Aurelio immediately recognizes the car and demands to know where Joseph got it from. Joseph brags about who took the car from him and how he killed that man's dog. Aurelio tells him to get out of the shop, but Joseph replies that he owns it. Aurelio replies he does not work for him, but he works with his father, and then hits Joseph in the face. One of the fools, Joseph, pulls out a gun and points it at Aurelio, but the other one prevents him from shooting. Joseph gets up and insults Aurelio, telling him he will take his business elsewhere. Later, John stops by the store and inquires about the car. Joseph replied that the car was here, and that Joseph is the son of Viggo. Viggo calls Aurelio later that night, asking why he hit Iosif. Aurelio only responded to this because his son took John Wick's car and killed his dog. In response, Viggo only said, "Oh." Viggo looks concerned and goes down to his penthouse where one of his men congratulates him, but Viggo tells him he wants to meet his son. Meanwhile, John enters his basement with a sledgehammer and begins pounding the ground. It is revealed that he was searching for a cache of weapons and gold coins. Viggo meets Iosif at his home. He offered Joseph a drink first and then he tells him he's wearing a nice jacket before punching his child in the stomach twice to scold him, reminding him of who he just did wrong. Viggo's henchman asks if he can leave, but Viggo tells him to stay. Viggo then tells Iosif that John Wick was attached to him until he met Helen and chose to quit. John was known as Baba Yaga, the Boogaman, or rather the man who was summoned to assassinate the Boogaman. Viggo tells his son about the time he saw him. John Wick kills 3 men in a bar with a pencil and reminds Joseph how dangerous John Wick is. When John wanted to retire and marry Helen, Viggo gave him an impossible task, with the implication of his involvement in multiple high-level assassinations in a short period of time. To Viggo's amazement, John succeeded, and his efforts were instrumental in creating the Tarasov Guild. Joseph tells his father that he can handle the situation and finish the job, but his father tells him not to. John will come for him and he can't do anything about it. After warning Joseph of his impending doom, Viggo dials John's number in an attempt to rectify the situation, but John hangs up. That night, Viggo sends a team of 12 assassins to John's house to kill him. John takes them all down with ease, fighting with the last few before stabbing the last one through the heart. To clean up the area and get rid of the dead, John summons the underworld cleanup team with him. Previously worked, they seem to realize that this will not be the last time they will help him. Viggo approaches Wick's companion Marcus, offering him a $2 million contract for the assassination. John Wick. He also tells his assistant Avi to apply for other people to fill the position. Marcus happily accepts the offer. John checks into the New York Continental Hotel, which caters exclusively to the criminal underworld and does not allow assassinations in its facilities, where he will remain for the duration of his business trip. Perkins someone realize Winston, the manager and owner of the Continental, is another old friend of Jones. When John inquires, Winston tells him that Joseph is at a nightclub called Red Circle. John walks into a club where Joseph and his friends are having a good time. He meets an old acquaintance there who tells him to take the day off while the man thanks him. Iosif is enjoying a night of champagne and ladies in a luxurious Russian bath when John kills one of his companions and approaches through the basement of the club. When they saw John, he starts shooting at them while Yusuf runs away. John kills every hitman in his path. He is cut in the side after one of Viggo's men stabs him with a bottle in the stomach. The doctor warns John that if he exerts himself too much, his stitches will tear. John claims that the bourbon he had purchased earlier would cover the lodging part of his rehabilitation. Marcus climbs to the roof of the building across the street late at night and keeps his eyes on the sleeping John. Notice someone coming through the mirror. He fires a warning shot. In John, Perkins starts shooting at John, but he manages to avoid it. She tells him that if she breaks hotel regulations and kills John for Viggo, he will give her $4 million. He struggles with Perkins until he gets her into trouble and offers her sympathy in exchange for information. She informs John that Viggo stores the majority of his assets in the church vault. John knocks out Perkins and leaves her with Harry to get one of the gold coins for their organization. Harry handcuffs Perkins to a chair, unaware she has dislocated her thumb, and slips away. She gets out of the car and covers Harry's face with a pillow before shooting him. John visits Viggo's hidden stash of cash and business documents in the church. After John shoots the other guards in the church, he forces the priest to lead him into the cellar. He banishes the ladies in the cellar and sets the entire structure on fire. Viggo hears of the fire just as he is about to be caught in a hail of bullets from John. Despite killing the majority of Viggo's men, he is knocked unconscious when one of his SUVs crashes. With another, he pushed John to the ground. Viggo catches him and asks why did he go this way. Links to avenge a car and a dog. Joseph took the puppy away from John, who claims it was a gift from his deceased wife. He also warns Viggo that he has the choice of handing Iosif over to him or dying with him. Viggo abandons him in front of the thugs, who strangle him with a garbage bag. Marcus, on the other hand, watches from the building next door and shoots one of the assassins in the head, allowing John to take out the other. Only John survived. John pulls his gun and fires at Viggo's escape vehicle. Viggo is forced to inform John that Joseph is hiding in a safe house in Brooklyn. Although the safe house is secured by armed men, John kills them all and storms the property. Destroy all escape vehicles with bombs. Then he catches up with Yusuf and shoots him in the stomach and then shoots him in the head. Perkins learns that John and Marcus have been in contact and informs Viggo. So, Viggo sends his thugs to Marcus' house to avenge Yusuf's death and for him failing to kill John. They beat him there until Viggo and Perkins arrive and kill him. Just as Viggo is about to leave the house, he calls John and tells him that he killed his friend. Viggo then leaves for a helicopter that will take him away from the city. The plan is that John will come to Marcus' house and Perkins will ambush him. Perkins was called to meet Winston, the owner of the Continental Hotel, while waiting for John to arrive at Marcus' hotel, a house at the Bethesda Arcade in Central Park. She meets Winston and 4 other men. Winston informs her that she has violated Continental's regulations and that her membership has been cancellation annulment. The 4 men killed her. When Winston is away, he runs across the same cleaner who helped John remove the murderer's remains from his house and gives him a few pennies. When John discovers Marcus' body, he sets out to assassinate Viggo. He discovers Viggo and their men. They are on their way to the helicopter and he tries to crash his car into them. Viggo orders Avi to assassinate John, only to be hit by John's car. Viggo tries to force John's car off the cliff, but he survived. Then the 2 fight in the rain, hand to hand. Viggo tries to attack John, but John pulls the blade on himself to generate pressure and break Viggo's arm. He then grabs the knife from his stomach and stabs Viggo in the neck. He abandons him to his fate. We go back to the opening scene as John continues to bleed. He feels excited to continue his quest. Watch the video with Helen. He enters a dog shelter to treat his knife wound. Then he adopts a little puppy and brings him home. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe and click the bell icon for new movie clips. See you in the next video.